Welcome back, everybody. It's a brand new episode of 5 Minute Majors. I'm your host, Derek Harper. Let's dive straight into it. We'll go over the basics with the CHL's top 10 and the players of the week, but we have some news to talk about in the CHL, specifically the WHL, and how it impacts not only that, as in the WHL and the CHL, but how it impacts the BCHL as well. You've probably heard the news. Penticton Vs are WHL bound. The Chilliwack Chiefs, we don't know if that's a brand that's going to move up, but Chilliwack itself is likely to get the WHL in 26 to 27. So we'll get to that and explain everything there. But first, we'll dive into the top 10 rankings. The London Knights, for the third consecutive month, not week, month, are at the top spot. I think that is my pick to win the Memorial Cup. They have a CHL best 43 wins on the season. Three fellow OHL members checked in. The wins are Spitfires. You should all know that name from the Memorial Cup just a couple years back. The Kitchener Rangers at 8 and the Brantford Bulldogs at 10. So the Spitfires sitting at 6. That might be the team that wins the OHL aside from the London Knights. Maybe it's a Windsor London battle deep into the playoffs. We'll see what happens there. Kitchener and Brantford. Brantford making an appearance for the first time this season. Kitchener, they're decent, but we'll see what happens. London and Windsor, those top two to watch in the OHL. Over in the QMJHL, this year's Memorial Cup host, the Rimouski Oceanic, slid in at 3, while the Moncton Wildcats slid in at the 2 spot. They've been kind of holding down that 2 spot, just one shy of London, obviously. WHL, they checked in with 4 teams as well. The Spokane Chiefs at 4, who have been putting up some tremendous numbers, especially against the Everett Silvertips, who slid in at 5. Medicine Hat with Kevin McKenna, Tanner Molendijk, they're at 7, and the Calgary Hitmen at 9. So we'll see what happens there. Speaking of the Chiefs, Berkeley Catton, he's a Seattle Kraken prospect. He received the WHL Player of the Week honor. It's his second weekly award of the season and Spokane's fourth in the last 6 weeks. So the Chiefs are a team to watch. But what this also means is, as the Chiefs go into a rebuild here in the next few years, the rest of the division is going to be really battling and fighting for a title possibly. So they're in that spot where they can be kind of rebuilding and waiting on all the others to kind of go into a rebuild phase when they're on the come up. So exciting sort of timeline for them. But he led all WHL skaters with 2 goals and 7 assists for 9 points in 3 games, while he helped the Chiefs lock down a 2025 playoff berth. So, big deal there. The WHL, we're seeing a lot of playoff berths getting locked in. The Winterhawks aren't there yet, but they'll probably be there soon. Staying in the WHL's U.S. division in the Western Conference, Scott Ratzlaff, Buffalo Sabres prospect on the Seattle Thunderbirds, goaltender of the week. He helped the Thunderbirds with a 3-0 record and a smooth 133 goals against average while noting a 959 save percentage, including a shutout. Seattle Thunderbirds they've been surging a bit, but they're obviously still in a sort of rebuild phase. Switching over to the Eastern Conference, the Eastern Conference leading Medicine Hat Tigers goaltender, Jordan Switzer, WHL Rookie of the Week. He led all netminders with a 2-0 record, a .50 goals against average, and a sparkling 982 save percentage and 1 shutout. So pretty big news there. But Medicine Hat, obviously a tough team. I think they're going to come out of the East, face maybe the Spokane Chiefs. We'll see. But the big news is the Penticton Vs. They've been a BCHL powerhouse at the junior A level. But with the agreement between the NCAA and the CHL, the BCHL has not been rendered like useless per se. Obviously, it's going to bounce back. But now players are choosing the major junior level. So if you're one of the more iconic brands, what do you want to do? Move up. So the Chilliwack Chiefs, rumors are maybe it could be the Canucks owner that buys a stake there and has the WHL expansion team. I don't know if it's going to be the Chiefs brand, but the timeline is that Penticton is next season and the Chilliwack franchise after that. Now, the BCHL, I'm sure they'll rebuild, but obviously some divisions might have to be shuffled a little bit with these two Western Conference BC division teams coming in. We'll see maybe how they redo that. Um, WHL seen a lot of change over the last few years with the Winnipeg Ice going to Wenatchee to become the Wild. It'll be genuinely interesting, but I would expect Penticton to still be a solid team in the WHL. They'll have some growing pains, but they'll be solid. Obviously that ownership group does a bang up job at the BC level, so we'll see what happens there. I mean, they've won so many titles or been the runner up so many times. They also had to pay off the WHL though, and the Kelowna Rockets for being in that territory. But now, I mean, can you imagine that Kelowna Penticton rivalry? I mean, whoa, that's going to be something else. Kelowna, like I've said, is another team to watch as they're hosting next year's Memorial Cup. And so it'll be interesting to see maybe how Penticton gets involved, if they do, how they kind of base it around the growing WHL. But we'll keep you updated on all that sort of news as it breaks over the coming year. But for Chilliwack, it would not be their first time with the WHL franchise. They previously had the Chilliwack Bruins from 2006 to 2011 before they were purchased and relocated over to Vancouver Island and became the Victoria Royals. And the Royals have seen quite a bit of sort of mid-tier success, I would say, with playoff runs. So BC division is going to get ultra competitive here soon. It'll be fun to watch. We'll see who the ownership groups are and how this shakes out. Um, and we'll update you as more official news breaks. Until then, stay tuned.